Hey, what's up guys? James Wolf here with James Wolf Fitness Systems. Today I want to show you some ways to improve your rowing technique. Now with row technique, there are a couple things that I want to point out that some people tend to do that kind of messes up their form. One is their neck and chin posture. So if you were to get into a standing cable row or band resisted row like this, you see a lot of people, they start like this, they'll poke their chin forward like this, and they'll do something like a row like this, just to try to get it further behind their body. Now, I'm going to list a couple of things to correct some of these postures and to look at shoulder posture and all of this stuff. So I'm going to run through the list fairly quickly. So starting off, if I was to do a standing cable row such as this, I want to look at that shoulder and make sure that I'm not anteriorly gliding that joint over. So you'll see a lot of guys that tend to do this when they do rowing, and it's called a humeral anterior glide. So they bring it up and then they overly extend that shoulder, gliding that forward, poking that forward. So to correct that, there's a number of things that we can do. And so starting in this position, first thing that we can do is slightly depress the shoulders down and avoid any elevation. So for instance, if we slightly depress them down, bring them back a little bit, but not too excessively, so they're not way down here, we can kind of stabilize using the lower traps to stabilize the shoulders and all of that. And as we bring it forward, slightly bring out your elbow away from the body as well. So if I was to do a standing cable row, just as such, and then I keep it about there. Keeping my shoulders depressed, you can even place your hand here to help kind of cue you as such. And then keeping your chin tucked, you can double chin it, such as this. Good. Now, another thing you want to look for is some people will have hyperlordosis in the lumbar spine where their butt sticks out and they have an excessive curve here. With those kind of people, that like athletes and whatnot, we do want to watch to make sure that they're not overly shortening the lats and the erectors back here as they're coming forward and doing their rows. This can also lead to more humeral anterior gliding. So by being in this position, we watch that it's in a slight lordotic curve but not excessive. Your core is shortened, and as you come forward with the elbow a little bit away from the body, you're depressing that shoulder blade down, and then you're contracting, feeling the lats and the rhomboids contract as such. Keeping that chin in a double chin mode, just like that, even adding a little bit of a cue here, so like that. Now some people that do a lot of sitting, they live their life in flexion, meaning that their spine is a lot of the time rounded and they're getting a kyphotic posture up in the upper back, in the T-spine. So that's one cue that I like to make for them, is actually to pop the chest, but making sure that they're not excessively arching the lordotic spine. So keeping the chest high and tall, nice natural curve in the lower lumbar, shoulders are slightly depressed and back, and we're cueing to keep that shoulder back. As we bring our arms back, leaving the elbow, a little bit of space in between the rib cage and the elbow, and stopping about there. You'll see a lot of guys try to go past the body really far. There's really no need to go that far, and if you do, you start to get into that humeral anterior glide. So we're going to start here, just like this, and exhale, good. And then bring it forward, chin's tucked and everything. So the same rule applies to if you were to do a chest supported row. So if I was to get to this position, a lot of people they'll use a lot of biceps and they won't depress those shoulder blades down. So they'll bring it up like this, and they get a lot of biceps action in the elbow flexors, and they bring it like this, just like that, and they see a lot of elevation of the scapula. And so what we want to do is, again, slightly depress and retract and keep that shoulder back and locked in to stabilize. So chin's tucked and a natural lordotic curve, and you're going to exhale, bring it about there and away from the body, bring it down, and notice how I'm not stretching my shoulders down. So we're going to bring it locked in right about there, exhale, chin tucked, and as such, just like that. Perfect. So there are some quick tips that you can use to improve your rowing form, and just look out whether or not you're a sitter and you live in flexion all the time, to make sure that you are not excessively in that kyphotic state, or if you have an excessive lordotic curve, to really watch that you're not overly shortening the lats and whatnot, and messing up the form that way. So give that a try. I'm sure when you do get the form right, you're going to feel a much different and much more intense contraction in the back muscles than you were feeling before. So this is important for any sort of athlete doing rowing movements or needing to strengthen those back muscles, but of course also for bodybuilding, because you need to target those muscles properly in order to develop them optimally. Alright, bye.